Imagine an empire that spanned the known world, built on discipline, law, and conquest. Now imagine its absolute ruler, a man so utterly depraved, so spectacularly unhinged, that he didn't just rule with an iron fist, he ruled like a demon from a nightmare. What if I told you this emperor, who controlled millions of lives, was so dangerously insane? He once married himself, and then he married his favorite horse? This isn't some outlandish myth, but the horrifying truth behind one of Rome's most infamous rulers, Gaius Julius Caesar Augustus Germanicus, better known as Caligula. For 4 short, bloody years, he plunged Rome into a vortex of terror, debauchery, and madness so profound that history has struggled to comprehend it. Forget the sanitized versions of Roman emperors you read about. This is the unvarnished, disturbing story of a man who broke every taboo, defied every expectation, and turned the most powerful empire on earth into his personal playground of insanity. And if you're ready to uncover the shocking, often censored, secrets of the Roman Empire that your textbooks conveniently forgot, hit that subscribe button, because what you're about to hear will make you question everything you thought you knew about power, sanity, and the depths of human depravity. Caligula didn't start as a monster. He was born into the heart of Roman nobility, son of the revered general Germanicus. For a time, he was the darling of the legions, earning his nickname Caligula, meaning little boots, from the miniature military uniform he wore as a child. The people loved him. The army adored him. When he ascended to the throne at just 25, Rome rejoiced, expecting a golden age. They were about to get a blood-soaked nightmare. The transformation was swift and terrifying. Within months, the benevolent young emperor vanished, replaced by a tyrannical despot whose every whim became law, no matter how cruel or outlandish. Historians like Suetonius and Dio Cassius meticulously documented his descent, painting a picture of a man utterly unburdened by empathy, reason, or even basic human decency. Was it a brain fever, as some suggested, or simply the intoxicating, unchecked power of being the absolute ruler of the world? Either way, the mask slipped, revealing a face of pure, unadulterated madness. His narcissism was so extreme, so all-consuming, that he declared himself a living god. Not just a god, but all the gods. He'd dress as Jupiter, then Hercules, then even Venus. But the ultimate display of self-worship? He married himself. Yes, you heard that right. Caligula staged an elaborate wedding ceremony, complete with vows and sacrifices, where he played both the bride and the groom. He even supposedly consummated the marriage, with his own reflection. It was a grotesque, public spectacle, designed to shock and terrify, demonstrating that no boundary, not even the sacred bonds of marriage, applied to him. But Caligula's most notorious, most bewildering act of madness involved not a person, but an animal, his beloved racehorse, Incitatus. This wasn't just any horse. Incitatus was Caligula's obsession, his confidant, his chosen successor in a bizarre, twisted way. The horse lived in a marble stable, dined on oats mixed with gold flakes from a jeweled manger, and even had his own house with 18 servants. Caligula would often invite Incitatus to dinner parties, where he demanded total silence from his guests, as he whispered secrets into the horse's ear. But the true measure of his madness came with his ultimate pronouncement. He would make Incitatus a Roman consul. Think about that. The highest office in the Roman Republic, once held by Cicero and Caesar, was to be given to a horse. He even reportedly married Incitatus, performing a ceremony with the horse dressed in royal purple and jewels. While the formal appointment was never carried out before his assassination, the threat alone was a terrifying display of his contempt for Roman institutions and for human dignity. It was a deliberate, calculated insult, a psychological weapon wielded against a Senate that quivered in fear. This wasn't just bizarre, it was a power play, screaming to Rome, "I can do anything, and you are all less than my animal." Caligula's reign wasn't just absurd, it was drenched in blood. He loved watching people suffer. His public games, meant to entertain the populace, became arenas of unspeakable cruelty. Instead of criminals, he'd send innocent spectators into the arena to be torn apart by wild beasts, sometimes because he was bored, or because the current batch of gladiators wasn't exciting enough. One of his favorite games involved forcing fathers to watch the execution of their own sons, then inviting them to dinner immediately afterward, expecting cheerful conversation. If they refused, they'd be next. He would have prisoners tortured in front of him during meals, describing the details of their agony to his guests. A particular type of joke he enjoyed was forcing men to wear women's clothing and parade naked through the streets, then selling them into prostitution. For a man obsessed with his own divinity, the suffering of others was merely a plaything, a gruesome form of entertainment. His infamous quote, "If only the Roman people had but one neck," revealed the chilling depth of his desire for absolute, brutal control. Beyond the public terror, Caligula's private life was a cesspool of unimaginable debauchery and sexual violence. The imperial palace, once a symbol of Roman dignity, became a brothel, a torture chamber, and a perpetual party where moral boundaries ceased to exist. He regularly forced senators' wives and daughters into sexual acts, then would boast about their performance. At dinner, with their husbands present, he committed incest with all three of his sisters, especially Drusilla, whom he treated as his wife, even building a temple to worship her as a goddess after her death. His lavish spending was equally insane. He squandered Rome's entire treasury in less than a year, building enormous, impossible projects, like a floating bridge across the Bay of Baiae, just so he could ride his horse across it. When the money ran out, he resorted to extreme measures, mass executions of wealthy citizens, simply so he could confiscate their fortunes. He even forced noble families to leave their inheritances to him, or face certain death. The depravity wasn't just for pleasure. It was a tool of terror, ensuring no one, no matter how powerful, was safe from his twisted desires. No reign built on such madness and terror can last. Caligula's relentless cruelty eventually united even his most terrified victims against him. The plot was elaborate, involving officers of his own Praetorian Guard, led by Cassius Chaerea. On January 24, 41 AD, after attending games, Caligula was ambushed in a dark passage of the palace. He was stabbed over 30 times, his body hacked to pieces, as his assassin screamed with every blow, "Take this." His wife and young daughter were also brutally murdered, ensuring no heir would continue his vile legacy. The Senate immediately ordered his memory to be damned, seeking to erase every trace of his horrific reign. His statues were destroyed, his name scratched from inscriptions. They tried to scrub Caligula from history, a desperate attempt to forget the emperor who had brought Rome to the brink of utter moral collapse. But his story, a chilling testament to absolute power and absolute madness, refused to be forgotten. It remains a stark, terrifying warning etched into the annals of human history. A reminder that sometimes the greatest threats come not from foreign invaders, but from the darkness within those who rule. If this plunge into Rome's darkest corners has left you reeling, hit that like button, subscribe for more unvarnished historical truths, and tell me in the comments, which other forgotten historical monsters should I unearth next?